What would you do if the one woman who once broke your heart is now the only person your child trusts? She's the past you've tried to forget, but also the only one holding your world together. Could you swallow the pain just to keep what's still worth saving? One choice, one fragile moment, and everything could change. You won't believe where this story goes. Sometimes healing comes in a form you tried to forget, and sometimes the answer lies in how you brew that third cup of tea. A black SUV pulls up in front of a modest community clinic, tucked between old shops and faded storefronts. The morning sunlight isn't strong enough yet to clear the mist from the windows. Nathaniel, 45 years old, CEO of a growing major healthcare corporation, glances in the rear-view mirror. In the back seat, his daughter Lily is fast asleep, her cheeks flushed with fever. She's hugging a stuffed fox tightly to her chest, her lips pressed into a quiet line. Last night, in her fever, she whispered, "I don't want to go to a big hospital. It's so cold there. So I just want to go to a small place where everyone is kind." He didn't know why he listened. He, a man of logic and strategy, but her voice trembled in a way that pierced straight through his ribs. He steps out, gently lifts Lily into his arms, and pushes open the glass door of Maple Light Community Health Center. It's a small, outdated clinic with peeling paint, but inside, it's softly lit and clean. The bell on the door rings out. It's a different kind of space. No automated announcements, no high heels clicking on tiled halls, just soft jazz playing in the background and warm light from an old overhead lamp. Nathaniel settles Lily into a chair in the waiting room and looks around. He freezes. A figure appears in the distant hallway. Evelyn. She's in a white coat, hair neatly tied back, holding a file under one arm as she steps out of the exam room. Her expression is calm, her eyes focused, eyes that once looked at him with boundless love, now just flicker for a second as they meet. Nathaniel stands still, his breath quickening. She does too. The silence stretches, broken only by the ticking of the wall clock. Evelyn nods slightly, like a breeze passing through an old season. He nods back, saying nothing. Just as he exhales, she moves closer and kneels down to Lily's level. Her voice softens. "What's your name?" Sweetie. Lily stirs, eyes barely open. "I'm Lily." "Hello, Lily. I'm Evelyn. I'll be your doctor today." "Okay." Her tone is gentle, natural, like doctor and patient, as if nothing ever happened between her and the man standing behind. Nathaniel watches as Evelyn places her hand on Lily's forehead, light as touching glass, then easily lifts her and carries her into the exam room with a warmth that's been honed over time. He doesn't follow. He sits there, hands clasped, eyes fixed on the mirror across the wall. It catches his reflection, now older, more tired, and something else stirring back to life. 10 minutes pass. The door opens. Evelyn steps out. Lily is asleep on her shoulder. She'll be fine. It's just a viral fever. She'll be back to normal in a few days, she says calmly, professionally. Nathaniel nods and reaches out to take Lily, but his hand pauses as it brushes Evelyn's shoulder. For just a second, their eyes meet again. This time, neither looks away. "Thank you, doctor," he says, her name slipping from his lips like a boundary he won't cross. Evelyn doesn't reply. She just nods and turns away. He takes Lily, tucks the fox back in her arms, and heads for the door. Just as his hand touches the doorknob, Lily stirs, whispering, "Dad, do you know that nice nurse?" Just a simple question, but it clearly separates the past from the present. Nathaniel stands frozen in the doorway. Across the hallway, Evelyn stops too, her back to him, shoulders tensing slightly. He looks down at his daughter, strokes her hair. "Yeah," he whispers, his voice barely contained. "I've known her for a long time." And then the door closes behind them, leaving a quiet room, a foggy mirror, and a woman standing still, her eyes not yet dry. Under the dim amber light of the bedroom lamp, Nathaniel gently lays Lily down on the bed. Her fever eased a bit, her breathing steady now. He pulls the blanket up over her shoulders, strokes her hair softly, then sits on the edge of the bed, watching her little face as she sleeps, her lips pursed in a heart shape. Beside the bed is an old wooden table where Lily keeps her colored pencils and drawing pad. Nathaniel absent-mindedly opens the notebook. His eyes stop on a child's drawing, a woman in a white coat scribbled next to the words, "The kind nurse." Her name is Evelyn. His hand stiffens. That name, that handwriting. A rush of memories floods in, quick and unwelcome. He stands up, leaves the room, and goes to his office. In the bottom drawer, labeled for unrelated items, the one he rarely touches, he rummages through old papers and broken fountain pens until he finds a worn leather notebook, corners frayed, tied with rough cloth. As he opens it, a small photo falls out. It's of Evelyn, at 23, hair down to her shoulders, smiling in the cream dress he once picked for her on her birthday. Behind her is a vibrant red maple tree on their college campus, where they once dreamed of a future together. He stares at the photo for a long moment, lost in thought. More than 20 years ago, Nathaniel, a business student, heir to a powerful family empire. Evelyn, a medical student, daughter of a schoolteacher and a mother who died when funding for her cancer treatment ran out. They met in the library when Nathaniel dropped a book on psychology, and Evelyn bent down to pick it up. Study sessions turned into long conversations. Arguments from their differences became the threads that bound them. But then he got a scholarship to London, and with that came a visit from his parents, summoning Evelyn for a private talk. A girl like you won't survive in his world. Evelyn didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just nodded. She meant to say goodbye to Nathaniel. But the night before his flight, she left just a notebook in the corner of the library. On the first page, "You won't leave me. You'll let me go before the world forces me to." When Nathaniel returned after 5 years, she was gone. No letters, no trace. Back to the present. Nathaniel places the photo on his desk. The warm light touches his silver hair. His fingers tremble slightly as he flips to the first page of the notebook. The writing is still there, faded but readable. He whispers, as if finally answering after all those years of silence, "I didn't leave you because I stopped loving you. You walked away because you started loving yourself." He leans back in his chair and closes his eyes. The room is quiet, except for the night air breathing through the open window, gentle but sharp, like an old breath finally exhaled. On the desk, Evelyn's photo lies untouched, unaffected by time. She hasn't aged, she's still the same. But in Nathaniel's eyes, she's not who she was before. Sometimes, walking away isn't giving up, it's growing. Have you ever had to leave, not because you stopped loving, but because you couldn't be yourself anymore? Share this, if you've ever chosen silence because it was the truest thing you could give. Nathaniel stands in front of the bathroom mirror, silently tightening his tie, but not looking at his reflection. His eyes seem to look right through it, through himself, as if the man in the mirror is someone else entirely, someone who once lost something precious and never found it again. In the living room, Lily sits cross-legged on the floor, sketching with colored pencils, her hair in a lopsided ponytail. She's drawing the scene from the clinic yesterday, Evelyn bending down, gently placing her hand on Lily's forehead, smiling in the warm morning light. Nathaniel steps out and gently rubs her head. "What do you want to eat after your checkup today?" Without looking up, Lily mumbles, "Those pastries from the corner shop, where the owner always smiles." He smiles faintly. "All right, if you behave at the clinic with Evelyn." "I always do," she replies, then pauses, looking up at him. Sickness isn't scary if you understand it. Sadness isn't scary when you know why it exists. Nathaniel is silent. He drove her back to Maple Light. As they walk in, Evelyn is guiding an elderly man in a wheelchair toward the door. She looks up and smiles this time. Not surprised, not guarded, just a gentle smile. "Hello, Lily," she says and kneels down. "I had a feeling I'd see you again today." Lily jumps forward and holds up her drawing. "I drew you." Evelyn takes the picture, her eyes pausing. It's a child's sketch with wobbly lines and bright colors, but there's something oddly detailed about it. Big, kind eyes. Evelyn's hand in the drawing is holding Lily's, and behind them is a quiet figure of a man. She glances at Nathaniel. He's looking at the drawing too. His expression has softened. Evelyn says, "You're quite the artist. It seems I have a fan." "No, that's my dad," Lily says, pointing. "He doesn't like hugging people." Both adults freeze for a moment. Then Evelyn laughs, light but full. Lily pulls her hand. Come on. Tell me more about the lost sparrow. Nathaniel sits in the waiting chair, watching his daughter disappear behind the white wooden door with Evelyn. His eyes turn to a framed photo on the nearby wall. Children laughing, hands raised, each holding a flower. Below it, the caption, "We don't just heal, we nurture wholeness." He reads each word slowly. His finger touches. He reads each word slowly. His finger touches something on the seat next to him. Lily's silver necklace, shaped like a small circle. Pay it forward, the faint engraving on the metal. It was a gift from her mother a long time ago. A moment later, the door opens. Lily steps out, cheeks flushed, looking stronger. Evelyn follows, holding a paper. "Are you feeling better?" Nathaniel asked. Lily nodded, then turned and hugged Evelyn. "You remind me of my mom," the little girl says gently. "I don't remember her well, but I think she was gentle like you." Evelyn stands still, her hands lightly on the girl's back. She says nothing. Nathaniel watches them, something warm and unfamiliar blooming in his chest, soft and slow. On the way home, Lily hugs her stuffed fox and glances at him. "Dad, you're different when she's around, gentler, like when Mom was still here." He looks over, but Lily has turned to the window, almost speaking to herself, then whispers, "You look different when she's around, not busy, just kind." He doesn't answer, but his grip tightens a bit on the steering wheel, not from tension, but because something touched him, something that had been asleep for so long, now stirring, not with noise, but with the quiet truth in a child's eyes. Nathaniel sits alone in his spacious office on the 28th floor of the healthcare corporation he runs. The late afternoon sun filters through the glass walls, casting a soft golden glow on his walnut desk and the screen in front of him. A new email has arrived. Its subject clear: Evelyn Harper declined the offer for the senior nurse position at Providence Medical. He clicks to open it again. Even though he read it a few days ago, it just reappeared. The subject very clear. The offer came from one of the most prestigious hospitals in his network, 3 times her current salary, plus a scholarship for a head nurse certification. But behind it all was her response. Short and unmistakably clear: "Thank you for the offer. I believe in a different kind of healing, where patients are called by their names, not their case numbers. I hope one day you'll find your way back to that. No pleasantries, no apologies, no diplomacy." Nathaniel leaned back in his chair. His eyes drift to a framed photo in the far corner of the desk. It's him and Lily, taken a year ago, right after he learned how to braid her hair. His hair messy, his hands clumsy, but both of them smiling. The next day, he returns to Maple Light alone, claiming to pick up Lily's medical records. Through the clinic window, he sees Evelyn wiping down the table, a worn cloth in her hand. The cloth is frayed and faded, but still clean. She doesn't notice him watching. Her movements are slow, unhurried, as if the way she spreads the cloth is an act of care. Nothing in that room is polished or modern, but everything feels real. When Evelyn finally turns and sees him, she's briefly surprised, but still keeps her gentle smile. Forget something she asks. Straight and neutral. "Not exactly," Nathaniel said, pausing. "I happen to see your response to Providence." Evelyn folds the cloth, her face calm. "Did you? You could be anywhere," he says. "Why here? A small clinic, limited budget, barely on the map." She doesn't answer right away. Instead, she walks to the sink, washes her hands, and dries them with the same cloth. Then she looks at him, steady. "Do you remember my mother?" He nods. "She passed in the ER of a big hospital at 6 a.m. No one remembered her name. No one held her hand. No one asked who she was to anyone. Her voice doesn't shake, but it carries the weight of years. The system isn't wrong," she says. "It's just forgotten something. Presence. And I don't want to be part of a place where people die feeling invisible." The room falls into a deep, unbroken silence. Nathaniel feels something shift inside him, something he's held tight, bound under the guise of ambition, status, control. It dissolves in the space her words leave. "I thought you gave up," he says, his voice low. Evelyn chuckles softly, more breath than sound. "I didn't give up. I just didn't go the way they wanted. I didn't leave the system. I stepped toward something I still believe is better. She picks up the cloth again, folding it with respect. That's from my mother, she says. She used to say that cleaning something properly is a kind of love that doesn't do anything just to get it done. Nathaniel bows his head, his hands slowly clenching. What about you? She asks gently. Are you still stepping toward what you believe? He doesn't answer, but something in his eyes opens like a fogged window, finally letting in light. As he leaves the clinic, Nathaniel walks slower. He passes the wooden bench where Lily once sat. Next to it is a children's comic book. A page is marked with a small piece of cloth folded into a heart shape. He picks it up, and in his mind, Evelyn's voice echoes, clear and unwavering. You didn't leave the system. You stepped toward something better. And for the first time in years, Nathaniel understands that some people don't need to win to prove anything. They just need to stand still and let kindness speak. The lights in Nathaniel's apartment are still on, even though it's nearly midnight. He steps inside, takes off his shoes and coat, but this time he doesn't head straight to his room. His hand is still curved. A small object, a piece of cloth folded into a heart, with edges and a faint soap scent. Evelyn had folded it from an old cloth and tucked it into Lily's comic book pages. A small gesture, but to Nathaniel, it reveals something. A new thread pulling apart the ties he's buried under ambition, reputation, and the glare of flashy success. He walks down the hallway to his daughter's room. Her door is ajar, the nightlight casting a warm yellow glow on the floor. He stops in the doorway. Lily is sound asleep, one hand holding the stuffed fox, the other on her sketchbook. Nathaniel gently lifts the book from under her hand. On the latest page, a nurse with angel wings is bending over to care for a little girl. Behind them is a man in a suit, gray-haired, no longer turning away. Nathaniel stares at the drawing for a long time. His eyes blink. Then, he turns and walks to his office, where a soft amber lamp waits. He opens the third drawer on the right, the one he hasn't touched in nearly 10 years. Inside is a small faded tin box, green with silver edges tarnished by time. He places it on the table and opens it. Inside, a yellowed movie ticket, a frayed string bracelet, a note saying, "Don't let work steal your smile," and an old, pale envelope. No name, no return address, just a line, "To Evelyn, if I ever find the courage." Nathaniel quietly opens it. Inside is a handwritten letter in hurried but sincere ink, blue ink. The last time he wrote anything by hand, it read, "Evelyn, I don't know what you still keep of me in your memory, but I haven't forgotten you. Not because you were the first woman I loved, but because you were the first to make me want to be a better man. And I didn't protect you. You let your silence make the decisions I never had to make for us. Even now, you don't blame me for leaving because it was your only choice. I was too used to following the system and family expectations. I thought I was strong, but I was just hiding behind armor of success. You believed in your choices. I only knew how to choose what others told me to believe. If one day you read this, I'm not begging for forgiveness. I just hope you know I never stopped loving you. I never learned how to love you the way you deserved." Nathaniel folds the letter and gently places it on the desk in front of him. The warm light casts his shadow on the floor, his shoulders slumped, chin resting on his hand. Not the posture of a man tired from work, but of one wrestling with an unnamed burden. He recalls that day, a late afternoon, under the maple tree behind the library. Evelyn stood in front of him, her voice barely above a breath as it brushed his collar. "Do you think you'll regret this?" He stayed silent. Not yes, not no, because he thought silence would keep the peace. Little did he know that silence could be the most painful way to lose something irreplaceable. The clock ticks in the silence. Nathaniel stands up and walks to the large mirror on the other side of the room. He looks straight into it, not as a CEO, not as a father, just as a man facing his former self, a boy in a white shirt, empty-handed, promises uncared for. He takes the letter and goes back to Lily's room. She's fast asleep. Her desk is a collage of colored pencils, folded paper, and small toys. He doesn't tuck the letter into the box, doesn't slip it under her pillow. He places it next to the drawing, for Evelyn and for himself, not for Lily to read, not for Evelyn to find, but to put the unsaid somewhere alive, because sometimes what we never say, if not to those we've lost, must be said to those we hope won't lose the same. Nathaniel leans down, brushes a strand of hair from her face, and whispers into the quiet curve of her ear. She waited for me to grow, but I grew too far from her. 1. The letter, tasteless, a truth once swallowed. But tonight, finally, a man speaks it, even if just to himself. Night falls over the city in quiet cold. In the high-rise apartment on the 22nd floor, the living room lights are still on, casting long shadows on the silence. Nathaniel sits by Lily's bed, his large hand on her forehead, now hot with fever. Her cough starts sporadically, then comes closer, louder. Each breath is a struggle. He checks her temperature, 39.7. Her chest rises quickly, drenched in sweat. "Dad." Lily's voice is hoarse, broken. "My throat hurts. I can't breathe." Nathaniel's heart tightens. His hands shake. He grabs his phone to call emergency services, but the automated voice says the wait time is 20 minutes. Too long. Instinct takes over. He dials the only number that matters, Evelyn. His voice is hoarse. "Emergency." Lily is struggling to breathe. "I don't know what to do. Please." At the other end, Evelyn's voice is calm, steady, to breathe. I don't know what to do. Sit her up, tilt her forward a little, pat her back gently. Don't panic. I'm on my way." "What's the address?" 1527B3, he replies, barely breathing. "Stay with her. I'll be there." Less than 10 minutes later, the doorbell rings. Nathaniel opens the door. Evelyn walks in a gray sweater, hair pulled back, face focused, unshaken. Where is she? In the bedroom. Left. Evelyn moves quickly, medical bag in hand. She puts on gloves, turns on the nightlight, checks Lily's throat and breathing. Her palm rests on the child's back. Steady, gentle. Lily's small body shakes with each cough. Mild spasm. Evelyn says, "I have a nebulizer." Nathaniel stands still. She turns to him, firm but kind. "Hold her. Keep her upright, head tilted slightly to the side. She needs to know someone's here." He sits down, holds Lily in his arms. She's limp from exhaustion, but her eyes open, drifting toward Evelyn. "I missed you," Lily whispers. "I missed you too," Evelyn says gently, holding up the inhaler. "Let's blow some bubbles together." "Okay." "Lily." The girl nods weakly. Evelyn presses the dispenser. Each breath is a gentle mist into Lily's lungs. Her voice is almost a whisper. "You're doing great. One more breath. I know you're strong." Nathaniel watches, not just with his eyes, but with a deep gratitude that silences everything else. Every move Evelyn makes is precise, intentional, without hesitation. She's not just a nurse. She's here when he had no one else to call. 5 minutes felt like years. Then, Lily's breathing starts to steady. Her cough eases. Her heart rate slows. Her small body relaxes in his arms as if she's finally found peace. Evelyn adjusts the pillow, pulls the blanket over Lily, then steps back and removes her gloves. She'll be okay. She's through the worst. Nathaniel exhales, though his chest still aches, not from fear anymore, but from something deeper, harder to name. Evelyn turned to leave. "Evelyn," he said, his voice low. "How did you get here so fast?" She doesn't turn back, just replies softly, "I've always been nearby. You just never called." She walks to the door, but before her hand touches the knob, Lily stirs. "Nearby. You just never called." She misses. "Evelyn." Both pause. "Thank you." Lily whispers. A weak smile forms. "You're like my mom, warm, and I still remember her." Silence. Evelyn bows her head slightly, then replies, her voice light as breath. She was strong, just like her dad. The next morning, Lily sits at the kitchen table, eating oatmeal, her cheeks rosy again. Nathaniel stands in the doorway, mug of coffee in hand, eyes toward the balcony, where Evelyn appeared like a light cutting through the night. On the table, a small object catches his eye, a stethoscope. Evelyn left it behind. He picks it up, the metal still cool to the touch. Not just a medical tool, a silent witness to the moment someone stayed when others pulled back. Nathaniel isn't one to use the word lucky, but today, for the first time, he whispers to himself, "Lucky she's still here," because sometimes showing up on time, without a word, can heal years of silence. Morning mist thinly covers the old street. The first rays of sun aren't strong enough yet to dissipate the condensation on the windows of Maple Light Clinic. The neighborhood is still asleep, except for the light chirping of birds and the faint smell of bread rising from the corner bakery. A man approaches from the alley, in a slightly wrinkled white shirt, simple jeans, and a canvas bag swinging at his side. No one would guess it's Nathaniel Ward, former Forbes cover star, CEO of one of the country's most powerful healthcare empires. This morning, he's not going to the office. He's here, at a place tied to a woman from his past. His present fading into the past and now, without warning, becoming a lifeline in his daughter's world. The clinic isn't open yet, but he has a key. Evelyn placed it in his hand last night. After saving Lily, she pressed the key into his palm without a word, just a look. And in that look was the unspoken "keep it if you know what you still owe." Nathaniel unlocks the door and steps inside. He doesn't turn on the lights. The gray daylight filtering through the windows is enough to illuminate the thin dust on the reception counter. The clinic is closed this morning. Evelyn is taking a well-deserved rest after her overnight shift. He knows this, and that's exactly why he's here. He moves slowly, carefully through the space, sets the bag down, opens it. Rubber gloves, cleaning cloths, floor cleaner, and a small bag of tea from Evelyn's favorite corner shop. He starts with the waiting area, gathering small papers, straightening the health flyers. But that makes it real then. Without hesitation, he picks up the mop. No one asked him to do this. No one will see it. But that makes it real. More real than any apology. He runs the mop over the tiled floor, bending to reach the corners. His hands, used to pens and contracts, start to redden. Sweat beads on his back. With each movement, memories surge: the meals Evelyn cooked on his all-nighters, the time she placed her hand on his heart and asked, "What are you really living for?" shining through the way she left. No anger, no blame. At the reception desk, he finds an old teacup with a stain on the handle. He carefully scrubs it, dries it, then boils water in a small kettle he brought. The scent of ginger tea quickly fills the space. Warm, almost soothing, paper small. He writes a line. "Thank you." He places the cup on Evelyn's desk, next to the stethoscope she forgot last night. Then, on a small piece of paper, he writes a line. "Thank you for being there." No name, no expectations, just so she'll know when she reads it. At 8:30, the back door opens. Evelyn walks in, sandwich in hand. She pauses for a moment, taking in the shiny floor, the faint ginger scent, and the cup waiting on the desk. Quietly steps toward the side room. She doesn't touch the paper. No need to ask who is here. She quietly steps toward the side room. Through the crack of a half-closed door, she sees him, Nathaniel, rearranging the waiting chairs, sleeves rolled up, shirt damp with sweat, face flushed from the work, bent down, wiping each armrest. Careful, deliberate. He doesn't know she's there. Evelyn stands there for a long time, not knocking, not speaking, but the corners of her mouth curve up, like a breeze brushing by, the edge of a late season. That evening, Lily draws a new picture. In it, she's sitting in the clinic chair. Evelyn is smiling, holding a cup of tea. Behind them, Nathaniel held a mop, his hair messy, smiling softly. She handed it to him. "Dad, do you know what? Honey, I don't think she needs you to say sorry because I saw you mopping the floor today, and like she said, some things don't need words, just timing." Nathaniel chuckled, pulling her into his arms, saying nothing. For the first time, he felt forgiven without having to ask, even without a single word. He didn't say sorry, but the way he held the mop said it all. When sorry is too small compared to what has been lost, let your hands do the talking, gently, and let them echo where words have failed. One early morning, the first sunlight pierced through the thin curtain at Maple Light Clinic, casting a gentle beam on Evelyn's desk. Still faintly warm from last night's teacup, she stands quietly, holding the small piece of paper. "Thank you for being there." Nathaniel's handwriting, blue ink, precise, restrained, no name, no promises, just acknowledgement. She was there, When needed, her eyes turn to the teacup he left. The old stain on the handle is gone. The warmth has faded, but its essence remains, like an indelible memory. The bell on the door rings. She opens it. Lily in a blue floral dress, hair braided, holding a handmade card in her hand. "I made this for you," the girl says, shy but proud. Evelyn opens the card on the cover. 3 teacups are drawn in watercolors, each steaming, the vapors in heart shapes. Inside, in the child's slanted handwriting, the first cup is for my mom, the second is for my dad, the third is for the one who stayed. That's you. Evelyn holds the card gently. "I know my mom can't come back, but you make tea like her. She always made 3 cups. I didn't know why. Now I do." Lily smiles at her. One for the past, one for the present, and one for hope. Then the girl hugs Evelyn. No one had to teach her how to make tea, and in that hug is all that adults often can't say out loud. That night, Evelyn sets 3 white porcelain cups on her small kitchen table. She doesn't remember the last time she made tea for 3. Not since her mother passed. Not since Nathaniel left years ago. She places the first cup in front of her mother's framed photo. The third, opposite it, is hers. She, the second cup, next to an empty chair. The third, opposite it, is hers. She boils water, steeps the ginger tea in silence, the kitchen filling with warmth, breaths slowing with memories. She sits, looking at the second cup. It steams quietly, untouched. A breeze stirs the curtains. Then a soft knock, not loud, not rushed, just 3 gentle knocks, as if someone is knocking on her heart. Not the door. She opens it. Nathaniel stands there, in a white shirt, no tie, hands empty, no flowers, no rehearsed apologies. But in his eyes is the look of a man not coming for forgiveness, but to finally stand still in the silence. "If that's what's needed, come in," Evelyn said gently. Not an invitation, almost a breath. He steps in, sees the table, 3 cups, and doesn't stop. "The one in the middle is for Lily," she says, "and the one on the right." She doesn't finish, just places her hand on the rim. "Then let's go." Nathaniel understands. He pulls out the chair, sits down, doesn't touch the tea, just looks at her in the room, takes a slow breath. "I used to think time fixed everything," he says quietly, "but now I know. Time doesn't heal anything. People do, if they want to come back." Evelyn smiles, not a smile of forgiveness, but of someone who's long tired of anger, and now only makes room for what's real enough to stay. A soft rustle echoes down the hallway. Lily appears, stuffed fox in hand, hair messy, still sleepy. "I smelled the tea," she mumbles. Both say. Lily climbs up. "Do you want some?" "Yes." Evelyn and Nathaniel both say. Lily climbs up the middle chair, nestling between them. Evelyn poured tea into the third cup, this time. Not alone. Lily's small hand reaches for it. Tiny, but sure. "Now it's just right," she says, her eyes bright. No one answers. But some things don't need words. Sometimes presence is enough. A week later, at Maple Light Clinic, the reception desk, the familiar teapot sits in its usual spot. But now 3 cups are placed side by side. One for visitors, one for the on-duty nurse, and one left untouched, refilled each morning. Once, someone asked, "Who is the third cup for?" Evelyn just smiles. For the one who found their way back. If you believe second chances are worth waiting for, comment. Love doesn't rush. Thank you for following this story. If you've ever been silent when you should have stayed or walked away from a cup of tea you thought would never be poured again, you can still come back. And this time, make sure to pour all 3. This story reminds us that even the quietest acts of courage, like standing by someone in their most vulnerable moment, can create ripples of change. Through pain, misunderstanding, and unexpected connection, we saw how one person's presence can soften another's fears, and how healing often begins not with answers, but with simply staying. If this story moved you, please consider showing your support for the main character. They've taken a brave step toward healing, but their journey is far from over. What they need now is encouragement to trust again, to speak up, and to believe they are worthy of love and second chances. What do you think their next step should be? Should they reach out and open up more, or take time to rebuild quietly? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you believe in the power of stories to touch hearts and transform lives, don't forget to subscribe to Touching Tales Hub. Here, we honor the quiet heroes, the silent battles, and the moments that change everything. One story at a time, we bring light to the places we often hide. Thanks for watching and for feeling this with us.